What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be talking about momentumodds.com. We have a good video for you today explaining how sportsbooks are controlling sports leagues. And before we get into that, let's look at some of our trade boards games that we're tracking. So just got in on Cleveland at 35 cents. They play New York tonight, game 2. Last game, they were up by 20 or 20 some points in the fourth quarter, and Knicks going a crazy run. I mean, the Cavaliers were 99 cents. Remember, whenever you get 99-cent profit on the board, go ahead and take that, especially during basketball. It doesn't matter what lead a team has. It's not safe, especially in the playoffs, especially with these teams. And yeah, San Antonio Spurs, we were in at 16 for them to win the finals. I think this series is going to be the most volatile shift we're going to see of them winning the finals, because a lot of the sentiment is Oklahoma City versus San Antonio is the finals, and the market is appearing to reflect that. You can actually see I was in 73 cent at Oklahoma City, but after game 1, they go down by a lot. So, yep, that's that. But let's move on. Okay, to move on, guys, I'm going to try and explain to you the exact money flow, information flow, as well as pressure influence for most of these sports leagues, okay? And it's essentially a pyramid of where money is flowing, where the power is flowing, etc. So let's walk through that right here, okay? So first, the tier 1. This is the capital and regulation, okay? So you have the state regulators that actually license to the sports books. You have Congress that produces the Safe Betting Acts, et cetera, et cetera. Then you have the FBI, DOJ, and they only post fact enforce, okay? So they can influence the sports books. They can influence, Congress can influence these data companies, and the state regulators hold the power for these sports books because they literally license them. So green is showing where the money is flowing. So the state Okay, so the green arrows represent where the money is flowing. The blue arrows represents where the information is flowing. The red represents where the influence is flowing, okay? So the higher you get, the more influence these things have. So if we look at some of the operational decision layers, most of it is being enforced by the NBA integrity, which is essentially the NBA's own police. So it's their own officiators of their own policies, if you will. And the same with sports books and IC360 US Integrity. These are paid by the sports books that they police, okay? So that's essentially like a referee being paid by one of the players on the court. And that's for both of these. So that's how this layer can get grayed out in terms of, okay, information can flow through here. We don't necessarily know what narrative they could potentially be trying to push. And whatever it does will be chosen not to escalate, even if there were league referee assignments that were influencing referee calls or decisions. And it's important to note how this is protected because this NBA integrity decides what gets escalated and what doesn't. So the referees, league operations, those points of emphasis, points of disciplines for referees that they get before every game is going to be directed from the higher up NBA integrity, which the NBA officially owns. So that's just something that's important to note, especially with this system as a whole, because if you look at the players and coaches, that's who we've actually seen being enforced for punishment, okay? And that's where we're going to see going forward. Players like Jonte Porter and Terry Rozier, they have these scandals where they might fake an injury or inside share at purposely point shade. All of that information gets stored in terms of their prop outcomes, bet settlements, fed back up to the sports books. Remember, green arrows are information, and they can decide whether or not they want to give this information to their police services and to the NBA integrity unit. At that point, they would, because it actually affects their bottom line. It doesn't actually affect the consumer in terms of betting settlement. So that's why in terms of fraud, things like that, they'll never be enforced. It'll never be enforced because there is no incentive to. You have information and data being flowed from tier 3 and tier 2 simultaneously, as well as control of the police layer. There is no incentive to police yourself at this point. Okay, so let's look into this a little bit deeper, right? So Dylan Harper runs back out to the bench, and then all of a sudden, FanDuel employees tell him to get back to the locker room. And this is actually funny, but I mean, in a way, it's kind of interesting because, what was the actual report on his injury? I mean, he looks like he's ready to play. He's going back to the bench, but they stop him. I guess they're ready to concede this game too. They don't want him to be injured. They can't afford him injured. And all of that makes sense. But it gets interesting when you start seeing FanDuel promote things like this, where Dylan Harper left the game due to an injury. If you added Bet Protect Plus to a bet, including Dylan Harper, you're covered. I mean, it's interesting. I don't know if you have to pay for this stuff, but I mean, why wouldn't you really want it to begin with? And it doesn't really make any sense, but that's something to look at. Another thing, Isaiah Harkenstein. Look at some of his highlights, right? What is the ref looking at? I mean, it's very plausible. The game plan for this game going in, especially with these officials, is look, let Hartenstein, let Chet Holmgren get physical with Wemby, okay? And that's all it would need to say on the report. It wouldn't have to say, okay, throw the game for the Spurs so that the Thunder can win. We need them to. All it has to be is a referee assignment. Hey, don't focus on Harkenstein's contact as much this game. Focus on other points of emphasis other than that. I mean, look at Tony Brothers. He's watching this, but he's not really concerned about Hartenstein gaining an advantage. And look, he's extremely physical in this. Look, he's holding him. Stuff like this is going to be called in Game 7. It's clear they got the assignment and they got the, I don't even want to say script, but they got the game plan going in, points of emphasis. We are not going to enforce Hartenstein physicality. Let's see something else. And this was another really good example. This was in round 1 with the Lakers, SGA. Okay, as you can see, Luke Kennard is in, this is really good guarding position if you ask me. I mean, he's not gaining an advantage whatsoever. The offensive player initiated the contact. He initiates the contact and then goes up, gets fouled. But what's interesting with this, look at this referee. He's not looking at any of this contact down here. He's not looking at anything going on with SGA or Luke Kennard. He's only worried about whether this ball goes in or not. And after it misses, and so the reason why this type of call is egregious is because A, the referee is out of position. The play happens on the right side of the court. He can only see the left side of the court. And he takes it upon himself to make that call after the ball is missed. And so things like that happen pretty much every game. And obviously you can't call every basketball game. You can't call every game 100% or else there'll be nobody to play, especially at this level with these athletes. I mean, everything is a foul, essentially. But what is upgraded to a foul and what isn't can be damaging. And you can clearly tell that they could have it on the scouting report. SGA or player number 2 on Oklahoma City likes to drive. He has a high percentage finish rate at the rim. If you see a miss, it's likely a disruption on his shot. Call the foul. And that type of assignment, that level of points of emphasis could be delivered from the NBA integrity level with correlation to information from above. I mean, you will never be able to prove this and it will never be able to be investigated, but it's something that you look at. And especially as somebody that's officiated basketball, there's 3 referees on the court, right? So let's walk this through. Okay. So there is 3 referees on the court. So you have the trail, you have the lead, and then you have the center official, okay? The play happened on the right side of the court. It should have been this call right here. Honestly, the trail would have a better view of it, honestly, because he could see all of the contact that would be happening from over here. And again, this is just me nitpicking the play, but it's when they're made with officials that are out of position that really get me skeptical. And I really want to see a better. Okay, this is a better one. So here's where he was, okay? And this is a 3-man. NBA always has 3 officials. This official should only have this zone from the center of the rim and to his side. He has the least amount of space to make that call. He has the least view to make that call, but he makes the call anyway. And you look at things, I mean, look at that. Like calls like this, I'm okay with. SGA does a lot of that flopping and fouling, and it's still, the thing is, he does a lot of exaggerations, things like that. Does this really affect his shot? I mean, we don't know, but we sure know he sells it. And the fact that it still gets delivered onto the scouting report is really suspicious. It is. I mean, even stuff like that, like that's his call to make because SGA is coming down on this side of the court. But is the contact egregious enough on the defender right here? And are you in that much of great position? I mean, this official is still moving. Still moving. And then he's standing and then he makes contact. I mean, a lot of this stuff is just really, really interesting to me about how the playoffs are being officiated. And every play he's falling on the floor. So the NBA official policy on flopping, there is a signal for it and everything. You're supposed to get fined. It's supposed to be a technical foul. It's like that on all levels, from middle school to high school to college. If you try to deceive the referees, you will get a technical foul. SGA, every single play will fall down, and there's no other explanation other than he's trying to deceive the referees. I mean, I wonder if we're just going to keep allowing him to fall down on every play. And, I mean, come on. You know, like stuff like that. It's like, at the end of the day, especially when you call fouls on these jump shots, I mean, you gotta, as a referee, get that on the scouting report. But then again, you want that on the scouting report, but who controls the scouting report? What layer of basketball controls the scouting report? But that's it, guys. That's all I got for today. If you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Remember to use code FIRST25 for the operator tier founding edition. You will get it for $99 for life, okay? It goes up to $150 after slots are filled up. But I will catch you guys in the next one.